Namaste, guys. ChristianRLong, life enhancement consultant, giving you a big and beautiful shout out on this Wednesday evening here in Denver, Colorado. It's about 8 o'clock p.m. Mountain Time. I'm kind of losing track today. Today's are always big days of longer meditation practice, extra healings, and then writing the weekly newsletter. If you're watching this live stream on Facebook, right below, 2 posts below this video is actually going to be the weekly newsletter, which is basically a quote from my teacher, Grandmaster Choa Koksui, and then my breakdown of that quote and how I think you can extrapolate some nuggets, apply them into your life to improve the quality of your life, whether in your health, your wealth, your relationships, or your spiritual growth and development. And I was thinking, what would be a good topic to talk about today? And I realized that this evening I'm going to be purchasing a ticket. And that ticket is going to be flying me not super far away. It's going to be flying me to one of the most anticipated events that I wait for all year long. And it is the West Coast Annual Arhatic Yoga Retreat. Now, luckily, there's a West Coast Arhatic Yoga Retreat and an East Coast Arhatic Yoga Retreat. And it's pretty much the highlight of my entire year. It's where, Avani Atma Namaste, it's where Arhatic yogis from around the country and different parts of the world come together for 3 days of advanced meditations, Mini Atma Namaste, advanced meditations, deep and profound healing experiences, and then lectures by videos of Grandmaster Choa or lectures by one of the masters that is leading that particular retreat. And what is super exciting, and has always been super exciting, once I had this realization, is that the 2 retreats, the highlight of my entire year, happens during a very special time of the year connected to my birthday. So the tool that I want to share with you guys tonight, that this one tool can help guide your life of what to do, what not to do, when to do it, when not to do it. And it's connected to the Kabbalistic cycles. So you might have heard of the Jyotish cycles, which is from Ayurveda, where they say during this time of your life, do these things and don't do these things. Grandmaster Choa Koksui, in his infinite wisdom, pulled from the Kabbalistic cycles. And there's 3 kinds of Kabbalistic cycles that we focus on within pranic healing. Now, this is taught in much, much greater detail in a class that he developed many, many years ago called Spiritual Business Management, which is how you guide your personal and professional life based on the law of cycles. Because the sun goes up, the sun goes down. The tide comes in, the tide goes out. Blood pressure goes up, blood pressure goes down. We're active, we're at rest. So there's laws of cycles and laws of change that if we tap into them, we can make our lives easier. So kind of one of the analogies is, one is standing on an escalator that's going up. You don't have to put in that much effort. You walk a little bit faster and you're ahead of the game versus trying to go up a down escalator. You're going against the grain, right? You're making it, Smita and Namaste, you're making it more difficult for yourself. So by understanding the law of cycles and the law of change, you can position yourself to take advantage of certain energies that are predominant at that time of the year for you. So the 3 types of cycles that we focus on using the Kabbalistic chart is you have a weekly cycle. So Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. We have one cycle, a weekly cycle. Then we have our yearly cycle, which is in blocks of 52 and a half days, right? 52 and a half days times 7. So we have 7 blocks of 52 and a half, right? And then we have our 7-year cycles. So from 0 to 7 years old, from 7 to 14 years old, from 14 to 21 years old. So those are the 3 major cycles that we focus on in the Kabbalistic chart. So a person who was sitting in one of Master Choa's classes said, wow, it would be really awesome if we could, make an easy tool to help us remember and apply the principles of the yearly cycle within our lives. Da, 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 da. Here we are, right? So there's a very old saying, know thyself, right? I'm trying to remember who actually came up with that saying. It's so old, I don't even remember who it was. I want to say Socrates, but I could be completely wrong with that one. If you guys know, please put it in the comment section for other people to benefit, or you can go to Professor Google, type it in, and get your answer immediately, right? So you can siphon through comments, or you can just go to Google. But a way of getting to know yourself is understanding your cycle and where you are energetically at that time of the year and how you can take advantage of those energies. So for instance, I want to give you the guy's exact one, 12. Okay, so from February 18th, right? February 18th to April 12th, 52 days, that time period is called my Venus period of the year. And it's connected to when I was born. Not the year that I was born, but the month and day of the month that I was born. Right? So that Venus period, Mini Atma Namaste, please share a pic of the cycle. Bam! Elisa Atma Namaste. So the Venus, I found out by knowing thyself, by practicing awareness, by looking over my life, that the best things that have ever happened to me in my incarnation that I'm aware of happened during my Venus period. From February 18th to April 12th, that period of time, the greatest things have happened to me in my life. Now, with working with one of my mentors, getting coaching, understanding, and healing, it made even more sense of, these are my ninja powers, okay? And these ninja powers get amplified and magnified during this time of the year for me, during the Venus period of the year. Now, I'm not saying that the Venus time of your life or the Venus time of your year is going to be that optimal time for you. It could be another period. It could be from your birthday, 52 days out, right? It could be from your birthday and 52 days earlier, which would be the Saturn period. So the 52 days up into your birthday, that's your Saturn period. The 52 days after your birthday, that's your sun cycle or your sun period. So once you understand the 7 periods that we experience throughout the year, you can plan your life better, but you can look at your life, sit down with a pen and paper one day and say, okay, the best things in my life, let me list the top 10, right? This happened, this happened, this happened. I met this person, that person, this person. I met my best friend here. I got married here. Whatever, right? Whatever good thing happened to you. And write them all out and then see if you can notice a trend. It seems like the majority of the good things in my life happened during the Venus period of my year, the Sun period of my year, the Saturn period of my year, the Mercury period of my year, the Mars period of my year, right? Then you can also write out the 10 things that maybe didn't go so well or very challenging things that happened during your life. And you write out those 10 things. Could be 15, could be 20. It depends on how much time and how deep you're willing to go. You write them all out and then you correspond them to a certain period. Becca, Atma Namaste. Good to have you on as always. You correspond them and connect them to the time of the year that happened. And you go, it seems like the really challenging times of the year happened around my Saturn period, happened around my Jupiter period, happened around my Moon period, right? And just knowing that gives you space to prepare for upcoming cycles and periods and years, right? It's really, really helpful. So, and then on one level of truth, it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. What do I mean by that? So in my mind, after doing my research and my study, Will, what's up, son? What do you mean I live in Colorado? Of course I do. I live in Denver. Haven't you looked at my profile at least 20 or 30 times over the past month? Hello? I live in Denver. I live 2 miles from Cherry Creek. So, if it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, right? Because I've studied a lot of my cycles and a lot of the great things that have happened. When did they happen? A lot of the not so good things that happen. When did they happen? And I correlated them to different points or periods or cycles throughout the year and go, aha. So now I'm amped up. I'm prepared. Of course we got to grab some lunch. Hello. I'm all amped up, right? And I'm like, all right, my Venus period is coming up. I get super excited. Like I'm super jacked. You don't even know. Cherry Hills. Yeah, son, what's up? You're south of me then. So I get super, super jacked up when my Venus period is coming into the fray. And it's going to be February 18th to April 12th, that period of time, the 52 days. It's my Venus period, and it's the best time, for me, it's the best time of the year. Like, I can't even tell you how excited I am. I'm super jacked up. So it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy, and I keep adding more and more and more positive energy. Now, what is the thing that can also happen conversely to that? If I know the not so good time of the year, right, I can also add energy to that. And it's like, this time of the year, typically not so good things happen. I have a lot of challenges, whatever those challenges are. Okay. Now, there's a way to remedy that if you're interested. What you can do, from my experience and my understanding, that if you happen to have the awareness that there's a period of the year that you have difficulties in, challenges in, what you can do is the period before, you can do extra service, meaning helping other people, and you can do extra tithing, which means giving a portion of your income to a charitable organization of your choice. And that energy will offset some of the negative karma that you have typically experienced in the past. So instead of having a big dip during that period and suffering a lot, you have maybe a little baby dip or no dip at all. And you go about your business. So typically, that period of time is the Saturn period of the year for people. So from your birthday, 52 days earlier. So if you go your birthday, whenever your birthday is, and you reverse it 52 days, that period of time is known as your Saturn period or Saturn cycle. That is the time of rapid materialization of negative karma. That is the time of learning specific lessons. That is the time of dematerialization versus materialization. So if you're wanting something to be long-term, car loan, mortgage, business dealings, contracts, you don't sign them, ideally, you don't sign them during your Saturn period of the year. So from your birthday, 52 days earlier, don't sign things. Don't make agreements. Why? Because if you make an agreement, what do you want to do? You want to materialize the agreement versus dematerialize the agreement. You want to make something physical versus making something spiritual, right? Is this making sense? But another cool thing about the Saturn period, it's a great opportunity to go deeper into your meditation practice because meditation is making you, is spiritualizing you, right? Also, if you want to end something and have less binding energy to it, if you will, you can do it during the Saturn period of your year. So ending a contract, ending a relationship, closing the doors on something, ending a lease, right? The Saturn period of your year is a good time to do those things, not the good time to make commitments or to sign contracts. Make sense? So for instance, you wouldn't want to get married during your Saturn period. Make sense? You wouldn't want to get married during your Saturn period because you want the marriage to what? Last. You want the marriage to be materialized, physicalized, versus let's get married and it's very ethereal and there's not very strong connections. Now, again, practice discernment, understand what I'm saying, understand the mechanisms and the principles. Does that mean you never sign anything during your Saturn period? No. Does that mean you only end things during your Saturn period? No. It simply means it's a tendency. Bernie, I'm going to say there's a tendency of certain energies available during that time of the year for most everybody. So, I'm going to say. So, for instance, and I'm still working on this. I guess I have another year of practicing it. So, a very difficult time for me historically, and I don't know why. Still got to figure it out, right? Lack of awareness, lack of understanding. My sun cycle, so from my birthday, I expect a nice card and present. You guys can send cash too, that's fine. On June 3rd. So June 3rd, 52 days out is my sun cycle or my sun period of the year. June 3rd, right? That time of the year, for whatever reason, has been historically challenging. I don't know why. Right? Because the sun period, for most everybody, is a good time of the year. That's the time of starting new projects. That's the time of wish fulfillment. That's the time of asking for favors. That's the time of getting what you want. It's not a coincidence that during our birthday we have a cake, we have a candle, we make a wish, right? Wish fulfillment, materialization, and then we blow out the wish. That is an esoteric truth that is materialized into pop culture. But it's based on an esoteric understanding that during pretty much the peak of your birthday, so the exact time that you were born, if you were born at 6:30 p.m. on a Friday, on that day, the peak, that time, is when your ability to materialize things has a boost, has an amp, has a more power to it, right? So that's why we have our birthday. We have a cake, we have a candle, we make a wish, we blow it out, ta-da, and it's all fun and games, but there is a concretizing, materializing energy to that wish of it being fulfilled faster than at other times of the year. But for some strange reason, I haven't cracked the code on this. I have to talk to a couple more people. My sun cycle has been historically challenging. Not very good things have happened during my sun cycle. Don't know what that is, but like we talked about earlier, it could be a self-fulfilling prophecy. That I've had enough frames of references around my birthday that were not so positive, and so then I go, here we go, another birthday. What's going to happen this time, right? So I start energizing the thought form of something not happening good, and then it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. So that used to be the way for holidays, right? That was another time of the year for me for holidays were not good at all, even a little bit, as long as I can remember. But the past couple years, that energy has been changed and transformed. So the holidays, while not the best time of the year, are definitely more positive and more joyful and more happy than than they were in the past. Because everything is energy, and energy can be changed. Remember that. It may take more time to change certain energies than others, but eventually, because the law of cycle and the law of change, everything changes. Nothing is permanent in the physical world. Though my body is young, healthy, and strong now, guess what? It's not going to be that way forever. Law of cycle, law of change. I may be super, super happy in this moment, but then something could happen in my external world or even in my internal world that causes me a lot of sadness and fear and anxiety or whatever. But that also will not last forever. You come out of it, right? You come out of it. It's actually, it's kind of interesting. I was going to post this on my Facebook page to bring awareness, but I chose not to because of the energy. But there was a person who posted someone else's post on Facebook maybe a week and a half or 2 weeks ago, and it was about a father, 34 years old, that had 3 children that had just gone through super, super hard times, with his marriage, with his job. He lost his job. A bunch of things all happened at the same time. Patty, I'm going to say it was like the perfect storm. And he ended up taking his life, right? So he actually has a picture of himself crying right before he shot himself. And I'm very familiar with suicide. Many friends of mine, family members of mine in the past have committed suicide. So I'm very, very familiar with that. And my heart goes out to any family member who suffered from another family member or friend taking their own lives. It's very intense. But that's an example of that person, that father, who ended up dying with, I think, like $5.42 in his bank account, something like that. And his 3 kids that he couldn't provide for. He thought that sadness, that depression, that emotional pain, at least Namaste, would last forever, right? That was his perception. And if you think something is going to last forever, what do you have? No hope. Only negativity, only darkness, right? Nihilism. Nothing means anything anymore, right? It's not a good place to be. But if this soul, if this man understood the law of cycles and the law of change, he would realize this too shall pass. This too shall pass. But every person who goes through with suicide, their perception in the moment of them killing themselves is that this pain, I gotta not connect to it, this pain will never go away, right? This pain will never go away. They don't see a silver lining. They don't see a horizon. All they see is infinite darkness, right? But if they understand the spiritual truth that we have an up period, we have a down period. Some down periods last longer, some up periods last longer, but nothing is permanent in the physical world. Things are always changing, right? And I remember when I was actually with Master Choa in a vegetarian dim sum restaurant in New York City in Chinatown when he was coming into the city to teach. And I remember him holding a ladle, you know, like the little tiny spoons that you use for sipping soups, like Asian soups, like pho or something like that, Vietnamese soup. He was sipping it with a little ladle, and I asked him a question about the law of cycle and law of change. I was like, Master, how does that work? And he just held out the ladle, and he's like, it's like this. It's like this. And funny enough, Master Ko said, if you understand this principle, the law of cycle, the law of change, and the spiraling up of evolution, he says, it will transform your life. Like, it's one of the most powerful principles that you can learn. The essence of the teaching is very simple. We are constantly going up, then coming down, and then going up, and then coming down. But because evolution, we're always moving towards evolution, even though we think we're down, our down is now higher than our previous up. So when you're up, when you're on top, when life is amazing and things are going well for you, you want to serve more, give more, tithe more. Why? Because eventually the wheel of karma is going to turn, because that's the nature of our lives. The wheel of karma, Namaste, the wheel of karma is going to change, and instead of being at the top of the wheel of karma, you're going to be at the bottom of the wheel of karma. So in those moments, because of the good service and tithing that you did when you were on top, the length of time that you spend at the bottom of the wheel of karma gets reduced, and you propel yourself to get back on top again. But if you're on top of the wheel, you're not generous with your time, you're not generous with your money, and the wheel eventually moves, because it does for everybody. As the wheel eventually moves, you get stuck at the bottom and the wheel crushes you. You go through more pain, more sorrow, more suffering that lasts longer because you have nothing in your quote-unquote karmic bank account to withdraw from to propel you out of that situation. So, using this example of the father who committed suicide is, and I don't know this for a fact, I'm just basing this on the understanding of what I know about this principle. that it's most likely this father wasn't serving, wasn't tithing, wasn't contributing at the time of his life when he was, quote unquote, on top of the wheel of karma. So then when he came down, he hit super, super hard. He didn't have enough to withdraw from his bank account, and he ended up taking his life. He didn't have enough to withdraw from his physical bank account and from his karmic bank account, right? It's really quite amazing. So the older I get, hopefully the wiser I get, and the more I look at things from spiritual perspectives, from higher perspectives, and I start taking my emotionality out of it and my preconceived ideas and my own opinions about things, and I start seeing things from higher perspectives, it allows me a beautiful level of truth and objectivity that's not icy cold, right? But allows me to have a greater sense of understanding and compassion for people who are suffering, right? When you have a lower level of truth or in a lower level of understanding, you look at somebody suffering and like a homeless person on the street and you go, well, Angela, namaste, good to see you back. You look at the person who's homeless on the street from a lower level of truth and go, well, the person was just stupid with their money, or they made a bad investment, or they got a gambling addiction or a drug addiction. It's their own fault. I know people very close to me that have that viewpoint of like, it's that person's own fault. The person's an idiot. So that's a lower level of truth. Yes, 100%. The reason that person is homeless and why they are where they are is because of their own fault, is because of their thoughts, their words, their actions put them in that situation, right? But from a higher perspective, you can look at it from the soul's viewpoint and go, okay, why are they in that position? Why are they suffering? Okay, probably there's a lesson that they're learning. Probably they're neutralizing ancient negative karma. They stole from people, therefore they're poverty stricken. They were not generous with their time, money, and resources, therefore they don't have enough time, money, and resources to provide for themselves. Colleen, namaste. I haven't seen Colleen come on in ever, and I've known her for what? Colleen, I think I've known you for what, 25, 30 years? No, like 25 years. So it's really, really fascinating when you think about it from the spiritual perspective, the law of cycle, the law of change, versus the lower level of truth, which is about criticizing, judging, belittling, putting down, disempowering the person, right? That doesn't help anybody. But if you have a higher level of perception, you can go, that person made a mistake. Their lack of awareness, lack of understanding, put them in this position. Okay, what's the right thing to do? How can I help that person? Can I give them $5? Is that going to help them? Can I buy them a lunch or dinner? Is that going to help them? Can I give them a piece of advice that might benefit them? Can I do healing on them? Can I sit with them and ask them to share their story? Can I demonstrate some level of compassion? Because by understanding the law of cycle and the law of change, guess what? There could come a point in time you're in that position. But by you demonstrating love, mercy, and compassion to someone else who's suffering, guess what? When you're suffering, because the wheel of karma is always moving, when you're suffering, there will be somebody or some bodies that will come into your life who will help you. Give you encouraging words, give you kind words, give you resources, give you a contact, what have you, right? So, leaving with gratitude. We'll watch the replay. All right, Avani, get it, girl. So I hope that helps you guys, that one tool you can use, this one tool you can use to guide the rest of your life. I've been using this tool at least since 2009, so it's been 11 years. It's very, very helpful. It helps you know who you are better. It helps you know what cycle you are in over your life, over the year, and over your week, and how you can take advantage, harness, and utilize certain energies at certain times of when to do something and when not to do something. Ken, namaste. James, namaste. Good to have you guys on. So I hope that helps. The best place, this is actually, funny enough, this is really hard to find. My first recommendation would be going to uspranichealing.com, like United States, uspranichealing.com. Look for it there. If you don't find it there, go to pranichealingusa.com. And if you don't find it there, the only times I really see this is at retreats, which we have one coming up at the end of February and then one in the middle of March. So we have 2 retreats coming up. But this simple tool you can use to transform your life. It's really, really profound. That being said, if I can assist you guys with your healing process, I have 16 plus years of working with people, coaching, healing, meditating, transforming, using the tools and teachings and techniques I've been taught by Grandmaster Choa Koksui directly. I was lucky enough and honored enough to work with him for about 3 years personally before I left the body. So whenever he would come into the United States on the East Coast or the West Coast, I would attend those classes and be taught by him directly. And it was priceless. I mean, it's not very often people get a chance to work with an actual great, great teacher, right? So I do my very best. Jeanette, namaste. I haven't seen you for a couple of days. Good to have you on. I do my very best to follow the teachings that I've received from Master Choa to the best of my abilities. I'm not perfect. I make mistakes all the time. But the cool thing is, every day, get a little bit better, a little bit better, a little bit better. And over a 16 plus year period, you get good at healing, you get good at coaching, you get good at producing transformational results for people. So let me know if I can help you. Go to ChristianRLong.com. It's my name. It's my website. Super easy to figure out. You can schedule your healing session right then and there. And then I get a notification on my phone. And that's it, guys. So thank you very much for joining tonight's stream. If there's any other questions, comments, concerns, you can direct message me on Facebook. And I look forward to serving you in the very, very near future. This is Christian Long, Life Enhancement Consultant, wishing you a beautiful day, a beautiful week, and a beautiful life. Atma, namaste. Bye-bye. Ted, you're late for the party, man. Have to watch the replay. Hopefully you get value out of it. Talk to you guys later.